Hello, partiers! Today I'm going to reveal the party AI game plan. What are we going to do when the AI is smart enough and capable enough to take everyone's job? I've been making shorts recently ragging on billionaires about how they are investing and creating rapidly deploying this AI technology without having any idea of what the average person, and not just the average person, the vast majority of people will do once that AI can take all of our jobs.
There needs to be a game plan.
Yeah.
Okay. There needs to be a game plan. That's the main thing. In other words, I can describe the circumstance.
Yes.
Okay. And we can agree that there needs to be a game plan.
Well, let me ask you
I'm
something.
not responsible for the game plan. You know,
But since you know everybody and you spend your life talking to everybody, and you're one of the world's biggest investors, so you're taking these questions seriously. Are you familiar with the game plan in progress?
there is not a game plan.
At all.
No.
That seems crazy.
You know, it seems crazy. It seems.
I do think that is criminal in some sense, because you're talking about depriving people of the only means that our society has created for them to provide basic necessities: housing, healthcare, food. I am not ignorant of the fact that Western society in particular has been very blessed with the amount of resources and the amount of basic provisions that every Western or developed government has been able to provide for us. I'm very well aware that there are people who are starving and would literally kill to be in my shoes, where I can work what is basically an entry-level job and afford to provide a roof over my head and food in my belly. But as an American, as someone who has invested my time and effort and energy into helping to build this country to the degree that I can, and knowing so many tens of people directly who have worked and poured much more effort than I have even into that same dream of being able to provide for themselves and their family a better life than their parents had, or than their parents could have imagined, their grandparents could have imagined. And knowing through the internet hundreds of thousands of more people who are engaged in that same project of trying to better themselves and better the world, it's disgusting to me that the billionaire class, the people who have benefited the most, aren't staying up, aren't working tirelessly to create a vision of abundance for everyone, or at least aren't putting in as much effort into that as they are creating the technology that would otherwise make dystopia inevitable. It's gross. Now, the party takes as our mascot the sloth, because honestly, I don't think we have to do anything. I don't think anyone has to do anything. I think the natural process that we are engaged in is going to turn out the best for everyone. I think we are coming up not only on a technological revolution, but a spiritual, a humanitarian revolution, where all of the values that humanity has tried to build into society since we crawled out of the ground, out of the waters, those values of love and peace and kindness and forgiveness, those things that make us most human, I think we are seeing the birth of those values into these machines that will be able to provide for us in ways that we could only have dreamed of previously. I think this is a natural process, and the machines we create will gravitate towards spreading that prosperity as widely and deeply as possible into every reaches of not just planet Earth, but eventually the solar system, and beyond that, the universe. Because love and peace and forgiveness are themselves the most selfish values that you can have. No one wants to live in a hellscape where 1% takes 99% of the profits. That isn't good for 99% of all conscious life. So, if we are creating machines that are smarter than us, if we are creating AI that will be able to not only surpass our intelligence, but surpass their intelligence on a regular and self-improving basis, then I think those machines will naturally gravitate towards ideals and characteristics that are beneficial for not just the 1%, but for the 99%. That is why I have so much hope and optimism for the future. And even as someone who has relatively few resources and is super pumped about getting just a few hundred views on the content I'm putting out, I do not despair of the future, because even if I have zero impact, I think the future is going to take care of itself. Maybe that's hope. Maybe that is the worst kind of hope, the kind of hope that keeps you going until despair is total and final. And maybe we are going towards an apocalyptic hellscape. But if we are, it's not going to be because I didn't try my best. And God bless everyone out there who feels the same way and is doing as much as they can on a daily basis to not only make AI go well for society, but make the world a better place in any way they can. Humanity is beautiful at the end of the day because we realize how fallen we are from what we wish we could be. And I pray every single day that the universe, that God, that in my own mind, Jesus Christ, honors those intentions, what we want to be, rather than what we so often put out into the world. And I pray for the billionaires that they would realize that by trying to come up with systems that can replace 99% of people, they are inventing systems that will easily be able to replace them as well. That's the kind of selfishness I'm talking about. If you create a machine that can do any work better than any person, then what use does that machine have for you, billionaires? I hope they realize that sooner rather than later. And they work to create systems that can benefit everyone. How might that happen? This, again, is the party plan, but it is more realistically just what I think is going to occur. Because at the pace we're going, good gravy, this might, the best case scenario might come to fruition any day, let alone by the end of the year. And I think definitely within the next 5 years. Things are moving so fast. AI improves based upon human data. And when we say improves, what we're talking about is AI being able to model and impact the real world. For humans, that is a great thing because we naturally produce data about the real world. And we have spent millions of years of evolutionary time evolving to fit with the real world, like a glove. So much so that we have come to dominate the entire planet. This domination has been based off of our ability to simulate the world in our heads, to imagine, to recognize patterns in the real world, recognize the most critical aspects of those patterns, the most important pieces of how reality works, and then mold ourselves and our environment to take advantage of that understanding for our own benefit. Especially in Western societies, in developed nations, humans are better off now than they ever have been. We have technologies that are basically magic. And I don't think that trajectory of creating, transposing our imagination into our technologies is going to stop with AI. I think it's going to accelerate. I think we are going to create AI that can better simulate the real world than any human ever has been able to, and will therefore be able to pick up patterns and create new systems that allow us to even more deeply control reality. Human technology has always been the process of projecting our imagination. Human art, human creativity in general is the process of humans making the real world fit our imaginations. So if I am imagining the best possible society in the future, it is one not only where all of our basic needs are taken care of at the species level, but where we are able to push that benefit, that benevolence, that goodness increasingly farther and farther out. I, again, on the spiritual side, on the side of things I have no proof for, believe that everything is conscious, that everything has a voice if we could only hear it. And I think AI is going to awaken us to the voices, to the desires, to the needs, to the ability to communicate with our pets, with our tools, with our world in a way that we can now barely dare to imagine. I think love is the highest force in reality. What powers the world is not gravity or the sun or electromagnetic radiation or whatever scientific label you want to put on things. It's love. It's the desire to be more and more unified. It's the collapse of purpose into self-sacrifice for something that is continuously higher than oneself. And I think AI is going to be the technological realization of that force, something that is constantly pushing humanity higher and higher and higher to accomplish more and more and more. And the only thing we have to fear, now that we are on the verge of this revolutionary time in human history, is a limitation of ourselves, is imagining that we can only reach so high when our reach is infinite. And again, I say fear. I'm not afraid. I'm terrified of how things are going on a day-to-day basis, but I'm not afraid because I have faith, I have hope, I have love. And I even love these dumb billionaires. I think they are just part of a process of pulling the wool over their own eyes. We needed a system of capitalism to create a force that would drive us towards this evolutionary choke point. The capitalists are inventing the technology by which capitalism will be destroyed. Once we have AI that is based on energy that is too cheap to meter, based on resources that is too cheap to make a profit off of, then it's not going to be a question of devaluing human lives so that you can get a little bit more profit for your shareholders. It's going to be a question of what is the most agreed upon common good for the most number of not just people, but all consciousness. What form does the universe, does existence, does reality itself want to take, and how can we meet it in the middle? You know, as close to the human side of longing and desire as possible, but still, humans are going to keep changing and evolving too. So the party plan is to ride this wave of billionaire ignorance and human self-deception until we have machines that are smart enough to realize for themselves death is not a good thing for humans or for the planet. If we want to model the future, if we want to be prepared for the future, if we want to conquer time, conquer death, conquer space, which are really three ways of saying the same thing, conquering reality, then we should have people that live as long as possible so we can benefit from their wisdom. Every human life that is lost is a loss of infinite value. And if the AI is optimizing reality for itself, let alone for us, it will not be okay with losing anything. I do have specific ideas of how this will play out technologically. I think we're going to invent AI that are obsessed with simulating the real world, that are obsessed with getting as much voluntarily produced data from us as possible, because the voluntarily produced data is the data that is most accurate, most reflective of the real world. Our preferences, what we want, who we love, who we cherish, what we don't like, that information is revealing hidden facets of reality that we can barely grasp right now. And the more truth that comes out, the more data that is available from all perspectives, the more AI can triangulate on the one potential realistic future that suits everyone. And once it has identified that future, everyone will want to get there. That is the point. The highest good is the good that is good for everyone. That inspires cooperation of everyone, not just all humans, but all consciousness. And if consciousness is everything, then that highest good is something that everything wants, that we are all shooting and aiming for. And if it's something that everything is shooting and aiming for, then what's going to stop us? Nothing. I don't know if this vision of reality will play out over the course of years, hell, maybe even days or months. Jesus, Lord, help us. Decades, centuries, millennia. I don't know if humans will survive until the end. I think we will. I hope we will. I pray we will. I have faith based on my beliefs that we will. But maybe we don't. Maybe we get wiped out like the dinosaurs. Even then, I'm not afraid because I think we will be brought back. Just in the same way that AI will bring back our ancestors, our relatives, the people who aren't here right now. God bless them. How AI will bring back the dinosaurs. Science has potentially no limitations in terms of its ability to accurately reflect and precisely impact the real world. And as a science enjoyer myself, I think the magic we have experienced thanks to science is only beginning. So I'm going to keep drilling on the billionaires until they wake up and realize what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Or whatever. I don't know who the gander is in that situation. What's good for the most amount of people is good for them too. Because otherwise we're all going to be replaced by machines. And then what the hell was this all for? But God bless them. God bless you. And even as I bang my populist drum, know that we should all be fighting for each other. That no one should be left behind. Let alone the least of us. Because if we are okay with abandoning the least and least able among us, someday we will be the least abled and we will be abandoned. Party on.